Oh, there we go. Awesome. I am streaming now, and I know you can't see me yet, so give me a second here. I had an issue. I fixed it. Okay, good grief. I am seriously losing my mind here. Wow. I don't know if I don't know if it's going to go in the main video, but I just spent about 5 minutes talking to myself, wondering what the hell was going on because I had not started the stream yet. And nobody was talking to me, and it was all quiet, and I couldn't see the view count. I couldn't see the widgets working. I couldn't see the chat. Couldn't do anything. So that was really, really weird. So anyways, before all you guys freak the hell out, okay, because I forgot, well, I didn't forget. I just didn't tell anybody, even tell Chesh. As you guys may have noticed, I have removed all mods. There's some reasons for this. It's personal. It has nothing to do with anybody individual or anything like that. It's just I'm kind of trying to take control again of things because I think things have been going, especially in the world, very out of control. And unfortunately, I have lost some of that control in both my life and other things. And I just kind of want to take that back a little bit. And one of the reasons I've kind of removed all the mods is I think, at least psychologically speaking, it gives me a little more empowerment to control the channel that I want it, the way that I want to control it, rather than having people timed out for the wrong reason and deleted or hidden for the wrong reason and things of that nature. So I kind of had to thought about for a while. I talked to somebody and I said, look, I'm just going to remove all mods for a while and see kind of how it goes. It looks even better. It looks cleaner because before there was this blue sea, of wrenches. And why? I don't need them right now. I don't need that many, at least. I mean, I always going to need mods, obviously, because we're going to always have people come around. We're going to have trolls come around. We're going to have people that just want to disrupt streams. We understand that. But right now, it's been pretty quiet. I think we've kind of nuked most of them. But I kind of want to just step back a little bit and just restart things a little bit. So, so Cheshire is on the same power level as everybody else right now. She's probably freaking the hell out. No, I can't time people out. Yes, Cheshire, you can't time people out. But you'll be okay. Anyways, the topic of this particular hangout, and again, this is an open discussion. For some strange reason, I cannot pin anything. Now, they are working on my channel. They have, quote, engineers working on my channel. This is their word, not mine. We don't want to get into that discussion about what constitutes an engineer. But I got an email from YouTube support saying that the engineers are working to fix on my channel because I couldn't stream before. Well, I couldn't schedule a stream before. I can now, obviously. And so they fixed that. Yes, YouTube fixed something. Wow, amazing. And I couldn't go in and edit anything. I couldn't put filter words in. I couldn't do anything with mods. I could not control my channel. If I wanted to move it from somebody from mod, I couldn't do it because when I went into settings, it came up in the error message. So I had no ability to do anything on this particular channel, and that really was kind of disconcerting, I guess the word would be, right? So another reason why I was like, I need to take some more control of this channel. So no, Cheshire, you're not getting your wrench back. At least not right now. Yes, of course I'm gonna have mods again, and of course Cheshire, Monius, Mr. Serious, etc. They're gonna get their mods back eventually, obviously. So this is very temporary, so don't freak out. Yeah, I'm trying to read the chat. But as far as the topic of discussion tonight, this was very impromptu, to say the least. And I was usually doing these kind of hangouts on Sunday because when we're ever talking about religion, we talk about God, we talk about atheism, or we talk about agnosticism. It's usually on a Sunday, right? Because I had Sunday school for quite some time. But I think that this is kind of such an important issue to everybody that it doesn't really matter whether it's on Saturday or not, right? So this is an open discussion. I do have a hangout room. I have a Google Meets if you want to come on in. For some reason, I was going to say, for some reason the pin's not working, but it worked now. So I got that pinned if you want to come in, if you want to talk about it. But, I had some friends come down from Reasons to Believe the other day. Anastasia Young and her husband Thilo, they're Coptic, which is the Eastern Orthodox religion. Two of the nicest people I know by far, and they have ties to the organization's Reasons to Believe, which I did that show Agree to Argue with Dr. Dr. Fuzz Rana. Dr. Hugh Ross is the benefactor, the president of Reasons to Believe, and then Fuzz Rana is, I guess, on the board, if not mistaken, or co-president, or I don't know his official title, so I apologize. But I did that show with them for a while, and so they came down from where they're at. I'm not going to give their location away, but wherever Reasons to Believe headquarters and stuff like that, and they came by and they dropped me off a card, and it's a card, and I'm not going to read exactly what it basically said, but basically, it's just something sweet, and it literally brought a tear to my eye. Literally, I'm not even joking. I mean, I welled up. It was very appreciative, and we were talking about religion, and we were talking about why people turn to God, why do people believe God exists, and things of that nature. And I mean, obviously, these discussions have been going on for thousands of years, and nobody's ever going to solve them. Nobody's ever going to think is going to resolve them, at least in any near future. Not in our lifetime, I believe. So, I kind of thought to myself, what is the? And I asked Thilo, I said, what is the benefit of somebody turning to God over turning to a fellow man for support? Because people have known that I've been relying on men. And I include women in this, obviously, as well. Mankind, right? Mankind includes both genders, or non-genders, if you want to. I mean, male, female, non-binary, trans, whatever. Everybody who's a human being, it includes. And I said, let's say you had a non-believer, just a non-resistant non-believer, which is like myself, an atheist who believes there are no gods, a Protestant, a Catholic, and a Coptic, or Eastern Orthodox. And they called it Coptic Eastern Orthodox. I don't know the difference. I thought it was both, but I don't know. But I don't think it's Oriental Orthodox. They said it was Eastern Orthodox. But again, I don't know the distinctions at all. So, my audio levels are all over the place. The reason that is I removed my filter because I was, again, sending everything back from to scratch because of the acoustics and everything else and changing everything. So I can add a filter if you want that'll get rid of that jumping all over the place. So let me add a compression filter, and that should fix that problem. So give me 1 second here. Thank you for pointing that out. I appreciate it. Filter, edit filters, add another one, and I'll actually put a noise suppression too. That should kick it down a little bit. So is that better for the? Is that gain little less jumping all over the place? Because I know I lean in and I lean out. And I apologize for that. So I put a compressor on it. What that does is keeps the audio levels in a kind of a narrow band. So if that fixes that, let me know. It's not the mic. This is a great mic. It's actually the software, the OBS software. If you don't put a filter in and compress it, then it's going to jump up and down. And so right now I'm kind of in the yellow region, which is going to be perfect because it's not clipping. So, but anyways, back to the topic. I asked what the benefits were, and of course, I got an answer of sorts, but is it beneficial why we're alive to have religion and a belief and to, if let's say God does exist, is it beneficial for us to believe God exists merely because it's beneficial to us in our lifetime, or is it salvational issues, right? Because there's two factors be looked at when there's a belief in God, right? There's the salvational issue. There's will we spend eternity somewhere? As opposed to what benefit do we have in life? A lot of people turn to religion as a coping mechanism. A lot of people turn to God as a coping mechanism. A lot of people turn to alcohol as a coping mechanism. I asked on Twitter not too long ago that, do we use things for escapism, to escape reality, to cope with reality, or do we do it to avoid reality? And some people answered both, and I understood that. I recognize that both is the case. But I was kind of more asking which one do you think most likely that people do it for, or maybe what you do it for, is kind of to generate the conversation. Personally, I use it to cope, right? I don't use it to escape reality, because reality is never going to go away, and you have to come back to reality every so often, right? Even though we fall asleep, we dream, we have wonderful dreams. In the morning, we wake up and those dreams are over, and most of the time we forget them anyways. So it's a very limited and temporary escapism. When we watch a TV show, we watch a movie, it's a very limited escapism, because of course the show's going to be over soon. When we read a book, things of that nature. Even sex is limited, right? I mean, like, it's more limited for a few than others, but whether it's 5 minutes or 2 hours, it's still it's ephemeral, right? It's going to be temporary. It's not going to last forever. And so when we do these escapisms, I think people do so for a coping mechanism. And so when people turn to God, and let's say that there's like Alcoholics Anonymous, right? They believe that there's a higher power. You have to believe that you have to say to yourself and recognize that you can't do it yourself. Okay, and I understand that to some degree, right? I mean, we all get to a point, I think, that we have to rely on other people for help, and even if it's not just financial or even mental. It's still social, as a social creature, right? That we interact with people in one way or another. And so when AA says, you have to believe in God or something like that, well, some higher power, they don't say you have to believe in God, but they believe that you have to have some kind of higher power that recognizes that you can't control yourself. You can't get I'm trying to think the way they want to put it. I'm gonna have alcoholics out there going, man, you're butchering the 12-step program. Yeah, and I probably am. I never been in one. But I think they say something along the lines of recognizing that you lack the ability to stop drinking on your own. And why I think that might be for some, it's not for all. I mean, look, I was addicted to cigarettes for 25 years. I mean, nicotine is extremely addicting. I was never into drugs or anything, but I mean, I smoked. I was a smoker. I was in the Navy. We smoked, right? But I quit, and I quit cold turkey. I didn't rely on God. I didn't pray. I didn't use a patch. I didn't vape. I did nothing. Cold turkey on my own accord. Not that anybody has the ability to do that, right? Everybody is different. Oh, shoot. I did think that, yeah, you know what? I do need one mod just to show. All right, God damn it. Cheshire, I have to give you mods back because I need you to show people when they put something filtered, because that way it saves my time. So, shoot. So, Cheshire, God damn it, you get your power back. Yeah, I'm never going to live that down. But I have to go in, and there's certain people I can go in and put names in and they get automatically approved, like Dapper Dino and stuff like that. So I'll do that eventually. But anyways, back to the point. I didn't rely on anybody for that. And so, I think that people can kick alcohol without having a belief there's a higher power. I do, right? I really do. I don't think it's necessary that you have to believe in something else. But when it comes to like other things, when it comes to medical and mental things, it might be a little more challenging, especially if you need medication, right? I mean, no matter how hard you want to believe that you're going to get better, it's not going to work unless you have certain, medication. If you need medication, if you got high blood pressure, you can control it with diet, or something. But if you've got something that requires, like for example, the anti-vax or the vaccine, you're not going to fight off the virus unless you have help. You need something else. So I was thinking when I asked him this question, what is the benefit of believing in God? Who do we turn to? Do we turn to God? Do we turn to man when we have these kind of crises, right? Oh, friendly fire. Holy crap. Did you see that? No, not even 1 minute. We had friendly fire. We only have one mod. So process of elimination. Let's have some deductive logic here. Let's use, I love logic. So let's do some logic here. If only one person has a wrench that can time out and somebody got tied out, ergo, conclusion, the person with the wrench timed him out, right? Well, I guess in this case it could have been me too, but it wasn't. Wow, that was... Mr. Serious got timed out by Chesh. I don't know how you're going to ever live that down or what happened there, but that was funny. So, is she just flexing? Is that what she's doing? Is Cheshire flexing her power? I don't know, because that was weird. But anyways, that was weird. So back to the subject. Do we turn to God or turn to man when we need help? Well, I mean, when I have been in the lowest states that I've ever been in my life, which has been fairly recently, to say the least, I didn't turn to God. I didn't pray. I turned to people that would help me. And I turned, to friends and people I loved and care about. And, I love Anastasia and her husband. They're, like I said, they're wonderful people, but it was something like this that made me feel, right? Something like that really supported me. Something like that really just affected me deeply. I mean, at a core level. I mean, I was in tears in the restaurant. It wasn't God that made me feel that way, right? It wasn't religion that made me feel that way. Now, they could argue, they do what they do because of religion and things of that nature. And I don't think that's the case. They are honestly really good people. But I wanted to know, look, if somebody turns to God to get a better life, okay, if they believe that, I understand that, why they would do something like that. But does it really give them a better life? A lot of people that have religion in their lives don't have very good lives. They're not happy people. So how does it make a difference if you have that religion in your life or not? Especially if you're an ethical person. If you live by ethical considerations and you're a moral individual, I think everyone that watches my channel knows by now, would probably agree, you don't need God to be a moral person. Matter of fact, we know a lot of people that are self-proclaimed Christians that are not moral people. As a matter of fact, they're the antithesis of moral people. They are hateful, spiteful, vengeful. Not that anything against vengeance. Trust me, I can understand why people could be vengeful, but they do it maliciously. They do it at an unethical level. They cheat, they lie, they steal, they lie. Especially the lying. That's all they do is they lie. And then they say they're Christians and they're saved, so therefore it doesn't really matter whether they lie or not. Or worse, they do what's called lying for Jesus, right? It's okay if you lie to somebody, as long as the end result is that they're saved or they believed, which makes absolutely no sense to me. And I'm not dogging on religion. You guys know I'm not anti-religion. I'm not anti-God. I'm just talking. Everybody burps. I've never seen that name before. Everybody burps. 1999 super chat. Thank you, everybody burps. He says, "Hope we can all heal soon," and I appreciate that. By the way, as you guys may have known, real quick, I get another side tangent because I go on a lot of tangents. My GoFundMe is down for a while. It is down to probably Monday because it's the weekend. It was false. Well, okay, I can't even say it was false reported. It was reported, and I did not know that GoFundMe had a thing where you can't refund stuff, right? And I was telling people, look, I want you to know if I win this lawsuit and all the other things, I'm happy to give you guys back the money if it was awarded, and I can't do that. I found out, and so I've had to retract all that. I had to delete anything reference to it. They actually said I had to delete it, and I did. And I have their communication, and they said I had to put in the story that I couldn't do that, and I have done that, but they haven't approved it yet. So there are people actively out there trying to shut down my GoFundMe, which tells you these are not ethical people, right? I mean, these are people that want to harm, clearly. And so right now, the only way I have to get funded is through super chats and PayPal and things of that nature, and I appreciate that. So thank you for the super chat. So I have a question real quick. Verilian says, when some people say that they need a God for morality, then it shifts from just believing in a God to letting that God dictate how you should live. To some degree, yes. And I think that when you have something called divine command theory or ethical subjectivism, where you have your morality based upon an individual's mind. Now, granted, that might be a perfect being. Let's suppose that God is a perfect being. You are still not developing your own moral understanding. You're not developing your reasoning why you have morality. If you just say, hey, look, this is moral because God says it's moral, right? And in in divine command theory, what is ethical is not what God commands, if I understand it. I think that's a misconception. From what I understand from reading about ethical subjectivism in the form of divine command theory, is that what is ethical is your abeyance to what God commands, right? So kind of like rural Unitarianism, right? Rural utilitarianism. Rural utilitarianism is basically what is good, what is you should do, what is your performative normative actions, is what is best to society by following the rules. Act utilitarianism is you following the act, right? So what is good is you actually following the rules that leads to a greater good for society. And so, you're still kind of deferring a little bit, I think, under that moral theory, you're deferring your ethical framework again to whatever the rule is, right? But we all agree there are rules that may to be broken. There are crappy rules, right? Rules are not perfect. So yeah, you could use it as a guideline, but it's not categorical, right? Utilitarianism cannot be categorical as far as normative, because rules can be wrong. But under divine command theory, they'll argue, well, God cannot be wrong. His rules cannot be wrong. And you following them is ethical. So I think that when people do that, they lose the ability to develop their own personal code and understanding. And they'll argue, well, God's code is going to be the best. Well, yeah, but are you going to understand why? Let's say that's even true. Let's say that God exists and he's telling you what's moral and what's immoral. Okay, I'm going to do what God says. But why? You don't understand it. You don't know why God says don't eat this, right? Don't eat from the fruit of the tree of knowledge, which wasn't an apple. It was a fruit of the tree of knowledge. He says don't eat from it. Why? Don't ask questions. Then how are you going to understand what the reasoning is behind it? Why to be ethical in the first place? It kills your what's called epistemic virtue epistemology. It kills your understanding of why to be virtuous, right? How do we know what is virtuous? Well, God tells us. Okay, but how? But still, how do we can say we know that is the right thing to do, but we don't understand why, right? You know, or somebody can say, a doctor can tell you to take this certain pill. It says, take this pill. It'll make you feel better. Okay, why does it make me feel better? You know that it does, right? It can cure your disease, but you have no idea why it helps cure disease. It doesn't get you anywhere. It doesn't help you become another doctor later on down the line to explain to somebody else, you know, or take this pill. I have the skill set now to tell somebody, take this pill so it helps you out. It doesn't do anybody any good if you don't understand the reasoning behind some of these ethical considerations, in my opinion. But going back to our discussion, I was like, why do we have people that believe in God as opposed to trusting in man and believing man? And I mean, I can't say that I got like a direct answer per se, and I still don't quite understand, because let's just break it down to three groups, or my three favorite groups: theists, atheists, and agnostics. And we're not going to get into the details again. Go watch my other videos. But yeah, so three groups. You don't have to be an atheist or theist. You can be other. But let's say you have those three groups. Then, what's the benefit of having God in your life if it's not for salvational issues, right? We'll talk about that next. But just for in your life itself. Well, people say, well, I have God in my life and I've been happy. Okay. Could you not have been happy without that in your life? Would your life have been significantly different? Would you have been a bad person? Would you have not made the same decisions? Who knows? I mean, some people go to church and they love the social aspect, but sure. But you can get that in any kind of club, I guess. You can go to a club, you can go to a bar, you can be socialized, socialize with people. So, I mean, what's the benefit? And I want some theists out there to kind of weigh in on this. Let me know. What do you think is the benefit in your life of having God versus being able to rely on man? Because it wasn't God that gave me this card, right? It wasn't God. It was people that I care about, and so I think people could argue, well, God can open doors, God can do this and that. Well, I'm almost 52 years of age. Haven't needed that from God. I needed it. Don't get me wrong. Not in a good place right now, honestly, physically and mentally. I'm in a great place where physically here inside, right? Not locality as in where I'm at, geographically. So people get confused when you say physically. They think geographically. So I mean physically inside. But you meet me relying on a God to help. With those issues, I don't see the benefit of. I mean, even when I was a theist, never really prayed for any of that. We would pray when we ate something that would strengthen and nourish our bodies. You know what? Still, when I eat, I strength and nourishes my bodies, right? I mean, it doesn't change the consistency of the food. It doesn't change the nutrients of the food that we used to pray about, or I used to pray before we ate something. And then, by the way, they do. They bless their food and stuff like that. And I got no issue. I'm not condemning. Got no issue. These are all questionings. I'm not faulting anybody for anything. But it doesn't, to me, change anything about the nutritional value of the food. Now, you could think, you could say, well, you're expressing thanks for it. Okay, fair enough. But again, if God doesn't exist, then you're thanking the people that made the food, right? They're the people that produced the crops, people that got it to the table. You're really thanking them, right? Because when I see people eating, and it just sounds really bad, because again, I'm not trying to dog on theists right now. I'm really not. I am really questioning. Seriously, I mean, my motives are really pure here. But when I eat a meal, right, and the meal was good. It was a shrimp and rice. It was delicious, absolutely delicious. Best meal I've had in months, because my appetite has been shit. But this was fantastic. And I was thinking to myself, well, what about the people that got it to the table? What about the chef? What about the waitress kind of stuff, right? Do we thank them kind of stuff? And I do. I mean, I obviously I did. I thanked the waitress, and they did. And they told the chef it was amazing, right? And they did too. But other people may not, right? Other people, when you're in the home and you're having a dinner, Thanksgiving dinner or whatever, and you're doing the blessing, do you thank the people that got the turkey to your table? No, probably not, right? Probably not. So, I was really having these, I don't know if they're like, they are philosophical quandaries. I mean, I was going to say existential quandaries, but they're not really existential quandaries. They're maybe to some degree, I mean, they're dealing with our existence, but they're questions that I ponder, and I've been pondering a lot of stuff lately, more so than I ever have. My whole mindset in the last 2 months has gone completely different. Things have been changing at a very rapid rate. The world has been changing at a very rapid rate. I think crisis is everywhere. I think things might get worse before they get better. So I've been really soul searching a lot, which is unusual for me. Very unusual for me. I mean, shit. I've been on YouTube for what, 2014? So 7-8 years, going on 8 years, I guess. I don't do this. I don't have those kind of discussions about myself. I have them with other people. I bring guests on. Oh, hey, Saigart's in the live chat. Hey, Saigart, glad you are doing well, my friend. And by the way, Sai, if you want to jump in there, the link is in the pinned. So jump on in, because I'd love to get a theist perspective on this, right? And you're a resident theist at the moment, it appears, because I think most of my audience right now are, I would say, non-believers. I don't know who this is directed to, but everybody burp says healing comes in all ways. 6 rounds of chemo, 28 rounds of radiation, 18 rounds of herceptin. If I mispronounced that, I apologize. I like your message very, very much. Thank you. And I hope that you do get better at that. As you may know, we just lost a dear friend of ours, OPT lawyer, to cancer. And so all of us are very much fuck cancer, right? I mean, it is the most horrific freaking disease on the planet. But people, when get cancer, sure, they might turn to God, but it's the doctors and everybody that cures them. I mean, people know my half brother lived 10 years longer than he probably normally would have been had it not been for chemo and radiation. And that was back, decades ago. So, they come a long way in chemo and radiation. So I hope you do get better on that. Chemo was hell for him, and it was hell for OPT lawyer. Jamie Russell says, you have earned trust with me. I know you're honest, Steve McRae. You have demonstrated your honest engagement, in my opinion. Thank you. And Jamie, you're a theist too. If you want to pop on in. And in fact, you and Saigart are both theists, but obviously one's old Earth, one's young Earth. But again, I respect people for people. I don't care if you're an old Earth creationist. I don't care if you're a young Earth creationist. I don't care if you're atheist. I don't care if you're Satanist. I don't give a shit that you have a particular belief. I want to know why. Right? That's what I talk about. I don't condemn somebody for having certain, beliefs. There are some beliefs I will condemn. I mean, if you get a Holocaust denier, yeah, I'm going to condemn them. Absolutely, I'm going to condemn them. Jamie Russell, $3. I appreciate your conduct. Thank you, sir. TomTom34B, OPT lawyer passed away. I didn't know. Yes, I did. Again, I'm finding out that I'm being the bearer of bad news in this, and that's it sucks. I don't like telling people that somebody we knew passed. I mean, for those of you guys that have been around for a very long while, you remember one of the first passings we had, which broke me for quite some time, which was Jade West. people know that she was a confidant friend of mine, and I adored that woman. She was one of the most intelligent, articulate women I've ever met in my entire life. And losing her sucked. And so when I found out about that, it just, I remember going on Redrick's channel, and it's still up there, I think, somewhere, but I couldn't hold it together. I just couldn't. And I no apologies on that whatsoever. I lost it. It is what it is. But yes, I'm sorry to tell you that, Tom. OPT lawyer passed away. And I tell you, one thing that at least helped me got through it was that somebody had mentioned he's no longer suffering. And I was like, yeah. And that's a big thing. That's a big thing. He's no longer suffering. Mike Clapper, $3 super sticker. First, I think it says. First. Oh, fist bump. Thank you, Mike. Yeah, fist bump, man. I just, I don't want to do this too much because people think it's a power thing. So I'm going to write Aussie on here so I could do that. And people just think I'm doing Aussie's thing because, Aussie. But let me see if anybody's trying to come in here yet. You know what? Let me let some people in. I guess I had some people trying to get in here. So if you're trying to come in, I apologize. I wasn't paying much attention. I didn't hear anything go off. So 1 second. Move some stuff around here. What resolution am I at? It seems to be an awfully low resolution right now. Maybe that's just the preview. I don't know. Michael, the Canadian Atheist says, "Hey, Steve McRae, longtime friend. Hope all is well, or as well as it can be. It's not, but thank you. But likewise, matter of fact, you can come in too to the come into the chat here, Michael, because I want to get some feedback on all this stuff from different perspectives. Going back to what I was talking about, the whole do we turn to man, do we turn to God kind of thing, because I still don't see the need to turn to God yet. Now people can say, I turn to God for salvational issues. I want to live forever. I don't know if that's necessarily a good idea, right? In our understandings of things, I mean, granted, we are finite creatures, and I fully admit there's no possible way that I can understand the workings of an infinite mind or God or where the plans are that he had. Oh, 720p. Okay, thank you. I have 480 on my thing, and I don't know why. But living forever, there seems to be some problems with that. I mean, have you ever watched the show The Good Place? One of the best philosophical shows I've ever seen in my entire life. The ending of that show, not to have any spoilers, but the ending of that show really hit home about, what it would be like if it was something where you kind of live forever, and it was based upon, I don't remember the person's argument. I think it was Scalion's, maybe it was Scalion's, a book that he wrote that I tried reading and I couldn't understand it, called What We Owe to Each Other, right? I think it's what's called What We Owe to Each Other. It was about something called contractualism. But I didn't quite understand it, but the show was brilliant. About living forever, you would eventually get bored. You would eventually see all, do all, and then what? And people would say, well, the whole reason of living forever, you'd just be praising God for eternity. That doesn't seem much like a way to exist. But anyways, let's get your feedback in here. So I got Brandon, I got Michael, and I got Cy that wanted to jump into the live chat, or the hangout here. I'm not going to put it on screen because I do have a public link there, and I don't want trolls coming in. So they can't see you guys, but they can hear you. So welcome. I can't hear you. Nope, still can't hear you. Let me see here. And speakers, is that on my end or your end? Because I can't hear anybody. No, nope. That is really weird. What is going on here? I can't hear anybody in the hangout. They are in here, I promise. They really are. Let me... So weird. Mic is global desktop. There we go. Fixed it. Awesome. All right. They should be able to. Yeah, I can hear you. So, all right. So, what do you got for us? Let's just start. If you don't mind, can I start off with the theist in the room, if you don't mind, Michael? Awesome. Hey, first of all, Sideguard, good to see you, my brother. Hope you're well. Very. I think the phrase is too damn long. So, I mean, what's your way in for this? I mean, maybe you can answer my questions on that. When we're down and we need help, I relied on and I still relying on my friends. I'm going to be relying on people for a while. I know this. I'm also relying on the VA. I have a VA appointment on Tuesday, and I need to go in and talk to a clinician. But it wasn't God that set up the VA work. It wasn't God that talked me into making that phone call to the VA. It was friends of mine. So when you, as a theist, is it something that you rely on to kind of like have God as a foundational thing for your support as why you're alive, or is it more for salvational, or both, and why? Oh, they can't hear you. Shoot, one sec. Gosh darn it! Why can't I can hear him? I can hear you, but they can't. Again, I don't know. YouTube has just been really weird for me. How do I add a source here? I'll get it going. One sec. Let me see. Audio. Let me do this. This will at least be a temporary fix, but it should work. All right, talk now.
You hear me now?
Yeah.
Can they hear me now?
Yeah, I did a temporary fix. I don't know what it is. It's a temporary fix that works. But anyways, all right.
Yeah. I mean, your question is on it, and I think what I have to say is that I think the perspective is off. It's not a question of rely for support on your friends, doctors, or people, or do you rely on God. That doesn't, that question.
Well, I don't make it binary, right? I don't want to make it exclusive. Yeah, I don't make it exclusive binary.
Right.
It's actually inclusive, right? I mean, it's actually God, or people, or both, right? Or neither. It could be. There's actually four things. There's not even exclusive or. Well, no, it is exclusive or. No, it's inclusive or. So it's basically, look, you can rely on God, you can rely on other people, you can rely on both, you can rely on neither. Those are your four options. I take it, right?
Right. I mean, it's the flip side of blaming God. So when things go wrong, if you have a car accident, you blame the driver of the car, or you blame God for allowing the driver to hit you. And blaming God for everything or relying on God for everything, neither of those work. And I don't think that relying on God is what brings people to faith, or if they're already believing, keeps them. I mean, in my case, those who don't know me, I was an atheist life, and I didn't come to God because I felt I needed more support than I was getting. I didn't. Some people do arrive at religion of all kinds because they're desperate and things have not worked out, and they get something out of God. But I don't know if that wasn't what happened with me, and I don't know if that happens with a lot of people. So I think that it's really what you just said. We're not talking about mutually exclusive. I mean, I certainly rely on friends and my family, my wife. I know and love, and many of them are atheists still. I mean,
I know. I mean, heaven, God forbid that you actually get along with atheists and agnostics and you don't treat them like shit, right? I mean, wow, what a concept, right?
I mean, because I was one for so long, and
right.
friends were, and all. So it's not it's not that category. It's not like you're this or you're that, and if you're that, all you care about is God and other, etc. I think that's a poor way to live, and I think that now, I mean, I'm happy when I wrote a book, and I'm happy when somebody tells me they read the book and now they're thinking seriously about coming to faith. That happy, but it's not why I wrote the book. I just felt like I had a need to, explain what I had, what my journey was like, just so people might be interested in
I
it.
haven't written a book. People have asked me to. I have written my paper, but it's not published yet. By the way, you've read my paper, right? Sorry.
Remind me. I don't. It sounds familiar. But
well, I mean, the short version was the atheist semantic collapse argument, which is by using the square of opposition with Boolean logic. But I mean,
oh yeah. Oh yeah, that was good. That
Thank
was
you.
Very academic.
Yeah, I actually had a PhD in Dr. Malik, right? S.A. Malik.
Yes.
Yeah. So Dr. Malik had sent my paper to 5 PhDs to have it peer reviewed.
I remember this.
Yeah, and I would say one didn't quite get the understand what was the attempt. He didn't find anything wrong with the logic, but didn't think it was really needed. And then the other ones, 2 were kind of like, yeah, they're pretty good, but one was exceptional, and he was a PhD in diatheistic logic, and he's like, this is a well-written paper, and kudos to the author, because he didn't tell me who the author was, right? But anyways, one of these days maybe I'll more write a book. Mike Clapper, Fidar says, this is a good show, Steve. Much respect for you. Thank you. I'm trying to put some new stuff out. I'm trying to do more stuff like this that I enjoy. Because I got to tell you, YouTube has not been very enjoyable for me for several months. It has been a slog. And I hate to say that because I used to love doing this stuff. I love talking to people and I love communicating with you and sharing my views. But I've been so down and out that the last couple weeks especially, it's almost to the point where I physically could not do this, what I'm doing right now. This is one of the reasons why I'm in touch with the VA. But so thank you for that, Mike. That means a lot to me right now. So Si, going back to what you're saying, it's not some kind of binary thing, and I think we all agree upon that. But what would be your advice to me before I ask the atheist in the room here, Michael, here in a second? What would be your advice to me? Because look, as a non-resistant non-believer, I was trying to tell them that look, if God is up there, if he does exist, he knows my heart. He knows I'm not a bad guy. He knows, contrary to the shit and fuckery that we deal with these piece of craps that trolls, gang stalkers that go around and harm people, which, they even came after you a little bit for a little while, I think. Yeah, so we know what they are. We see these people. We see the evil that they do, and I do believe evil exists. Well, your recommendation to me is, God knows that. So is he going to judge me because I didn't believe? Because you have Christians out there go, oh look, you didn't believe, you're damned. I don't believe that, right? I believe that as a non-resistant non-believer, if there is a salvational issue, it'd be like, oh well, you die, you go, well, I look back and he could have done this better and this better, but you know what? I still was a good person. If God doesn't appreciate that, then he's not really a fair God, right? What do you think?
Yeah. Well, I don't have an answer for that because I have enough trouble finding answers in the science I do.
Fair enough.
And in theology, I mean, I can read theologians, I can read the Bible, but I don't come up with actual answers that I can.
No, and that's one of the things I respect you on that. I mean, you can have suppositions, right? And you can come up with your own personal, maybe, possibilities. Yeah. But I love the fact, and I always have respected you for this, you don't state things categorically. You don't state things as, oh, look, this is a matter of fact, God, blah, 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 blah. Because I hear Christians do that. And even other Christians go, ew, no, stop doing that.
I could just tell you a quick anecdote. I recently put out a 4-minute video on the prompting of a Christian friend of mine on his channel. This is Capturing Christianity, Cameron Bertuzzi.
I know Cameron, of course.
It was a 4-minute video on the vaccines and why Christians should take the vaccines. And I've never had this experience before. There were over 40,000 views, but the thumbs down was roughly twice the thumbs up. In the thousands.
Is that because you think you're a theist?
That's because there's a very strong at this moment anti-vaccine craziness going on.
Oh, because you just think it was a bunch of anti-vaxxers.
Community.
Yeah.
What's that?
You think it was a lot of anti-vaxxers for some reason that just don't want. I mean, for people that don't know, he's a PhD biochemist. I mean, Sai's a smart dude. He's a PhD in biochemistry. Yeah. So if anybody wants to know about vaccines, he's probably going to know a lot more than the most of us here. And by the way, we need a show on that. By the way, I do. My new landlord asked about mRNAs, and I was showing her some videos on biology and stuff like that. But I got to tell you, I don't understand how mRNA inoculations work, and maybe you can come on another time and we can have that discussion.
I've done it a few times already in several shows.
Yeah, I love that.
But this spread of anti-vax, which is basically its own religion, into the Christian community in this country, to me is a huge tragedy. And I just, I'm doing the best I can, but it's very, very difficult, and I'm probably going to stop trying after a while.
Yeah, I mean, you reach a point where it's not really worth it, right? I mean,
it's not really worth it.
You look, Sai, as much as I adore you and stuff, you're not going to change the minds of these psychopaths.
No, that's what I'm understanding, right?
These people are either stupid, they're sociopathic, or they just don't care. And so, look, you don't see me going around trying to change the minds of the McCrazies, right? These people are just nuts. They're just insane. They don't understand basic things.
To me, the tragedy is not so much the anti-vaxxers, because everything you said about what you just said is true for them. Mm-hmm. What I'm disturbed by is the innocent people who just are swallowing this because they're getting fooled by the very well-funded anti-vax community. Yeah. Anyway, that's a side issue, but I just put it out there to tell you that I know how you feel about YouTube. At this point, I'm.
Sarah says, I know this much, Sarah. She says, mRNA gets translated into spike proteins by the ribosomes. The immune system attacks it and learns how to destroy it. It's that simple. Yeah, I understand that basic concept, okay? I understand translation and, transcription and ribosomes and codones. And I've done videos on those. I know those. But I'm saying that I want to know a little more of the complexities of it, right? I mean...
she pretty much
nails it.
Said what it is. I mean,
that's true.
Not that much more to go into.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I mean, let me ask the atheist in the room there. So Michael, but first of all, good to see you again, man. It's been a while.
Yeah, it has been a while. First and foremost, I want to say I was glad to hear you say a minute ago that you have an appointment with the VA.
Yeah, Tuesday. I have an appointment with a clinician.
That's a very good thing.
Yeah, I had a friend talk me into it, and I know I need to go.
Yeah, definitely take advantage of the services that you have available to you. The other thing that I'll say is, although this is, I think, my first opportunity to be in a room with Sai, and the fact that he's a theist, I sadly have to agree with almost everything he said without caveat.
It's hard to disagree, right? It really is, right?
Yeah, and so I think that, I mean, different people, you will get refuge and comfort from the things that you get refuge and comfort from, and I think that you should take advantage of all of those things, whatever they are. The alternative, being things like horrible depression and perhaps even self-harm or worse, is by far a worse alternative. And if someone were to tell me that, like, let's say they had a horrible tragedy, and the only way they were surviving was because of their faith, that is someone that I would never try. That is a person that I would never try to rob them of their faith, because that's what they're using to get through.
I couldn't agree with you more on that. Matter of fact, if you remember back in the day, remember that kind of really amazing, awesome show on YouTube back in the day? It was called the Non Sequitur Show. Does that ring a bell?
I have a vague recollection.
Yeah. So back in the day on the Non Sequitur Show, we actually it was godless quote, and I'm going to say, you guys can't see it because I'm going to use scare quotes. Engineer was saying, I'd asked him, something along the lines of, look, if somebody's dying, and they asked you to pray with them, would you do it? And he's like, no. And I'm like, you're an asshole.
Yeah, and in fact, I would say the same thing without reservation. Now there are some interesting, all you gotta do is sit there and just put your head down and just have a little respect. You don't have to you don't have to sit there and pray, literally pray in your head. But I mean, it's just a matter of respect. That's all it is. And he wouldn't even do something like that, right? Yeah, you're going to go through the motions,
right,
to offer comfort because it's the humane and human thing to do.
Exactly.
And it's interesting. There's an interesting book out there by a woman named Greta Christina. I don't remember the entire title, but it has something to do with comforting thoughts about death and then the subtitle is, that don't have anything to do with a God.
Mhm.
And for someone who's a non-believer, they may be able to get something from that. But again, I would say take it wherever you can get it.
Mhm.
It is there is no I don't think there's any single magic bullet. And Steve, the thing that you said, and that they're kind of four options. Yeah. And if you have to take all four of those, fire it up.
Well, they are mutually exclusive because, right? I mean, you can't take neither and then take both at the same time. Those are
but
logical contradiction. But yeah, I get what you're saying.
Whatever you
take. Yeah.
You have those four options available to you.
Yeah.
Whatever you take, fire it up.
Yeah.
I think that and like I said, I can't. I'm curious to hear what Brandon has to say.
Yeah, I was going to get to Brandon next.
A ton of time, but it was.
But you rely more on man. You don't. You, obviously, as an atheist, you're not. If you get into a situation, you're not going to ask God for assistance. You're going to, ask the people that can assist you, right?
Yeah, exactly. That is what we'll do personally.
Yeah.
But I have been faced with the death of both of my parents, and also also other people that mean a lot to me.
Mm-hmm.
And
we've all gone through that. Yes, unfortunately,
exactly,
it sucks.
Yeah, like nothing special here.
Yeah.
And what I did was is I tweaked my my mom died a believing Catholic, and so I just went through the motions for her because it's what she needed.
Yeah. No, look, I mean, I have people all the time recently have been saying that they're praying for me. You want to tell them thank you?
Well, yeah, because you know what that means to them.
Yeah. And they're expressing they want to comfort you, and that's how they go about doing it. Whether you believe in God or not is absolutely irrelevant to them expressing that, and that's how they do it, and you have to be appreciative of that.
Yeah.
It bugs the shit out of me when I see these fundamental atheists out there going, somebody says, "Well, I'll pray for you," and they're like, "Well, I'll think for you," and you're like, "You're an asshole." But Brandon, what say you on this, man?
Yeah, that's a douchebag move. I actually have, I'll say this first. I have friends that are Christians, and they've prayed in front of me, and I just put my head down, and I respect that. Second of all, I found a size traffic accident analogy interesting, because most people wouldn't blame God. They would say that it was Satan influencing the other driver or something like that.
No, that's true, but I think size analogy is actually very apropos, because when something happens, when something happens that's bad, we have the options again. We have the same exact four options, do we not? We can blame God, blame the other person, blame both, or blame neither. Those are the four options. And if there's a person to blame, for example, like Asai, if a tornado came down and touched down and destroyed your house, who is there to blame? Right? I mean, it's an act of God. The only person to blame at that point, if somebody wanted to play blame to an intentional agent, would be God, correct? That's why they call it an act of God. Now, I take that as, figuratively. But, I mean, that's the only option that would make any sense other than, blaming nothing. But if you want to blame something with an agent for a natural event, who are you going to blame, right?
Well, Satan does have influence, though.
Well, I mean, I don't know. When I read about evil, as far as the theological aspect of evil, they differentiate between a natural or called gratuitous evil and an intentional evil, which would be something along the lines of so that's maleficent and evil and malignant, like a Satan, right? So when you have like the evidential problem of evil, it's talking about things that are natural causes. When there's an earthquake, generally, I don't know a lot of Christians that go out and go, "Okay, Satan caused this." Now, I'm not saying there's not a few whack jobs, but even the most basic Christians are going to go, that was just an earthquake. It wasn't. Satan doesn't go around, I'm gonna stick it to the Californians by having a earthquake on the San Andreas Fault. No, it's nothing like that. Because they believe it was fallen anyways, right? They believe that man was fallen and our world's corrupt. Now they could say that all initially came from Satan, but I don't know which side. Do you know a lot of Christians that sit there and that think that Satan just sits there and interacts with every little thing, including natural things, to cause issues, or just one of those things that got set in motion and went from there?
Well, I think there are people who will say that because we are in a fallen world, Satan is the ruler of the world, whereas God is the ruler of heaven.
Mm-hmm.
I don't I don't know whether that's an actual correct Christian view. I've heard people say it, and this whole question of Satan is a little tricky for me.
Mm-hmm.
I do believe in real evil. I think, as you said, I think.
Oh, I believe in evil. Oh, look, I'm an agnostic, and
right.
And again, it doesn't mean it has concreteness, right? I mean, I believe love exists too. It doesn't mean love is a physical thing.
I sometimes use Satan when I tweet, but I'm using it as a embodiment of evil, a personification of evil.
I think a lot of Christians do that. I think Cameron would probably do that as well. Yeah.
But the idea that you're right. The idea that every earthquake, every hurricane or whatever that causes great damage is the work of Satan, I think is. I don't think that's theologically terribly sound.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people that have mental issues, and of course, you know me. Look, having a religion is not a mental disorder. Okay, these atheists that say religion is a delusion, it's like that. They are just completely so far off the mark. Having a false belief is not a delusion. A delusion is a malfunctioning of the mind. Just because you have a false belief doesn't mean you're delusional. I mean, by quote definition, all delusions are false beliefs, but not all false beliefs are delusional. So they have a category error. They don't understand how the reasoning works. Just because all delusions are false beliefs, the converse, that doesn't apply. It doesn't necessarily apply. So I think that's really stupid when they go out and start saying that kind of stuff. Real quick, super chat, 10,000 won from Kawasa. Doc Gart, do you follow Calvin's argument of predestination? If it does, how do you justify the concept of free will, the Plantinga method? Boy, dude, that question could take 2 hours on Plantinga's
but I can answer
free will
very,
theodicies.
very quickly. I do not believe in Calvinism. I do not believe in election or what is it?
Hyperdetermination.
The determination.
It's determination and hyperdetermination, yeah.
When I first learned about Calvinism after I became a Christian, I seriously asked people, is this really Christianity? And, apparently it is a branch of Christianity, but I do not hold to it at all.
Yeah.
So.
No, and it's, look, I know a lot of Christians that are just very Calvinist, and I'm one of those people too.
It's a real split.
I'm not Christian, but I mean, look, if I was to become Christian ever again, Calvinism would be right there at the very bottom next to Catholicism.
Yeah,
those two to me are like just not going to happen at all. No chance in the world. I would probably more go to something that has universalism, some cool ass religion kind of thing. But I mean, I'm so sickened by Calvinists. They are the most rudest, self-absorbed, egotistical people I've ever met in my entire life. I'm like, and this is the God's chosen people. I'm like, no, look, man, I'm Jewish by heritage. I'm one of the chosen people. But yeah, Gala Scummer, £5. Hi, Steve. How's it going? Thank you, Jeff. I appreciate it, man. And it's going okay. It's going actually less than okay. But you know what? I'm making the most of it. I think I am about to incur the wrath of atheist community for weighing in on the rocks or atheist argument. Go for it. We were going to talk about that soon again. That is making the rounds again. Good old Aaron Ra, rock atheist, just yesterday was just out there. Look, rocks are atheist. And people are like, dude, stop it. You are dumb in philosophy. And I really do like Aaron. He doesn't believe me. And Aaron is great for what he does in phylogeny, as far as I understand that. But in philosophy, Aaron is the flat earth of atheism. Straight up. Aaron has no idea about philosophy. He gets everything wrong. And every philosopher that I've known or ever talked to, and I know a lot of people in philosophy, do you know how many people have ever told me that Aaron understands even basic philosophy? Because I give you a hint. It's equal to 0. Okay. Does that help? The hint? Gave you a hint?
Yeah.
I have a lot of love for Aaron. He's been on the podcast.
He's a great guy. I mean, he can be a great guy. He could be an asshole to me, but overall he's a great guy.
He's he is a real mind when it comes to the things that you mentioned, like the phylogeny and his ability to just spout off those things off the top of the head.
Run circles around me. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, is ridiculous, and I'm incredibly envious of that. And as far as the other stuff, no comment.
Are you saying you have phylogeny envy?
Yeah, phylogeny envy. That may be a thing.
That might be a thing.
What's interesting?
I do too, actually, and I'm a biologist, but I can't even I can barely follow Aaron when he starts.
Yeah, he's a super smart dude when it comes
to my first debate.
We're pretty friendly.
My first debate. Yeah, well, maybe you could talk to Aaron one of these days, because again, I have nothing against Aaron. I do respect him. It's sad that he thinks so lowly of me, even though everybody has told him that I'm not wrong. Everybody who knows anything about these topics has told Aaron, dude, you're just beating your head against a rock here. You're beating your head against another atheist. What he's doing, but I mean, I just wish he would just pull his head out, because I would love to pass things up with Aaron one of these days, but he's just in transit in it. Everybody burps. What a name, dude. Everybody burps. $9.99. Thank you for that super chat. It is very much appreciated. He says, good luck and good night. I got great comfort tonight. Thank you. And we welcome you back anytime. And thank you for having dialogue in the live chat. Another super chat real quick. Kawasa 5001. Godless Scummer versus Aaron Raw. Rocks off. Oh, that'd be good. Get your rocks off.
It was interesting that something that you said a minute ago about blaming that Christians, you don't think Christians go around blaming Satan for things, and then the whole Calvinism thing was brought up. But one of the things that does get said a lot, and I don't want to drag this into a whole Christian versus atheist thing, because that's not what it's about. But one thing that does get said a lot is that, and I think mostly by people that are very fundamental, is that some of these things, whether it be a tornado, some type of quote unquote natural disaster, act of God, is a judgment. Mm-hmm. And you hear lots of people talking about those types of things. Mm-hmm. Which, maybe not the best thing.
That brings up the book of Job, which is, one of the first books in the Bible where I don't know how many pages and pages are spent with Job's friends telling him that he must have done something wrong to merit all this punishment he's getting. And they're wrong. They're renounced by God, who tells them, that's not true.
Didn't God and Satan kind of make a bet if they could break God?
Yep.
It
was a bet.
The original.
I have the book here. I think it's over here somewhere. But I have actually the book by Hugh Ross about Job.
That's an authority. I mean,
Hugh Ross is a smart dude. Yeah, Dr. Ross is, and he's a great guy. And
are you still working with them, by the way?
No, because Fuzz had other projects he had to work on, and they couldn't find another scholar. They only had a limited amount of scholars, so we couldn't. I know Anastasia wanted to do more Agree to Argue, and I gotta thank everybody at Reasons to Believe. They like I said, the people that gave me this card, there was a whole group of ATA people. It was even signed. The ATA crew wanted me to send their love and well wishes, and so they were amazing people at at Reasons to Believe. I have
that's a great group.
I have absolutely nothing to say negative about them at all, except that I don't believe in God, but they were respectful of that, and so. Okay,
I recently had I don't want to call it a debate. I recently had a discussion with Kenny Rhodes.
I love Kenny.
Yeah, I know Kenny. We all know Kenny.
Yeah, Kenny's a great human being.
Yeah, on Standing for Truth on Donnie's channel. Mm-hmm. Standing for Truth.
About that? Sorry.
No, it's fine. And I got we firmly disagree, but I got a lot of time for him. He was a decent dude.
Yeah, but he's only an adjunct scholar, I think, for them. But they wanted a full-time kind of scholar to do the Agree to Argue thing, and Ken Samples probably wouldn't have been a good choice. Obviously, Hugh Ross has a business to run, so I mean, it was not a business, but an organization to run. So we couldn't make it work. But that was all it was. They loved it. They still love it. They still talk about it. They still talk about me. And maybe one day again we can start that show up again, because it was fun. Well, a couple real quick super chats. Godless Scummer again says, for £5, I'm not a philosophy guy, but I'm semi-competent in history. Aaron wants to make me tear my hair out on the subject. Oh, how do you think Tim O'Neill feels? History for Atheists, because Tim is one of the smartest historians I've ever ran into in my life. And even he was like, Aaron is just incompetent in history. And also, there's also Pheasant, right? Josiah. What's it? Pheasant. Faithless Pheasant. He knows his history pretty well too, and he wrote a great thing on my blog explaining to Aaron, you're just wrong on this. It is fundamentally wrong on the history of the terminological usage of the word atheism. And he sent me the book. I have that book here too. Mike Clapper, $5. Love to know your thoughts on Greg Bahnsen, Steve, and Mike. Real quick, I'll just say Greg Bahnsen was a presuppositionalist. I believe he was a tulip Calvinist. But he really developed a presuppositional argumentation to just obfuscate. He was basically contrarian, I think. He wanted to obfuscate the conversation and quote, and this is his words, shut the mouth of the non-believer or the unbeliever.
It's interesting. I think that presuppositionalism is as dishonest as lack theism.
Yeah. Nope. I'm not gonna even argue against that. Yeah.
Oh.
Go ahead, Brandon.
Okay, this is kind of going back, but in the book of Job, didn't Satan actually kind of win that bit? Because Job actually did kind of denounce God though for a while, didn't he?
I'm not quite sure. I know he had blows and stuff like that, but I don't think he denounced him.
I don't know. It's been a while since I've gone back to that story, so I might be wrong.
My understanding was at first he was sorry.
No, go ahead. Mark.
So my understanding was first it was basically Satan, like, look, it was basically, look how good you are, or look, people are turning against me, and he says, well, have you considered my servant Job? And he says, well, yeah, this guy's only good because of all the stuff you do for him, all the shit you give him.
Right.
And so then the bet goes on, and he's like, okay, you can do whatever you want, but you can't hurt him. And so, family dies. I think there's a thing where the cattle lay down to the ground, turn to dust, all kinds of stuff. And then he still stays true. And then he's like, well, he's still holding out. And it's kind of implied that, well, if you let me go at him personally.
Yeah, like the boils. The boils?
Yeah. I can get him to.
His house fell down and killed his family.
Well, yeah, but you think about it, and again, the Bible might have historical context to it, but as far as the stories in it, yeah, I think almost all of them are allegorical and parable and fable. But anybody is going to break under certain things, right? We know that's human nature. God would know that. He even quote had made it that way, right? We know people break under certain conditions. It's not a fair test. I mean, would be a broken test if that was the case, because God would know if he was going to break or not. He also know how much stress somebody can take before they breaks, because everybody has a breaking point. Everybody. There's not a human alive that doesn't have a breaking point. It wouldn't make you human if you didn't have a breaking point. I think.
For sure.
Yeah. So, anyways, I kind of got again sidetracked off there, but I don't remember where we were at. We were talking about Job. No, that's perfectly fine. By the way, the link is still open.
The whole lack theism thing, Steve, I blame you for completely.
Do you know how many years I've been preaching, explaining that, and only now major atheists are going, "Oh shit, Steve was right about that. Holy cow!" I mean, you had Alex O'Connor, Cosmic Skeptic, finally admit, Steve has a point. He didn't say my name, but I mean, yeah, you could tell that was talking about me, or at least my arguments. And we had Rationality Rules. Same thing. I mean, both of them went to college and went, fuck, Steve knew his shit. And so I got vindicated, even though I had 5 years of hell of these really, really nasty atheists coming after me, saying that I didn't know what I was talking about, and all the people that are educated go, well, no, Steve did know what he was talking about.
I've caught a little bit of shit over it, but oddly enough, I've gained some ground with some theists.
Good.
Who will actually now, I think, more openly talk to me when I admit,
Right, because they know you're not illogical.
I have the proof as well.
Yeah, of course. That's the whole point. Look, I mean, I think, of course, it fosters better conversation. Cy and I are great friends because of that, I think. I didn't come after him going, oh, look, you have a sky daddy kind of thing. I mean, that just turns off conversation. Who wants to have a conversation like that? Nobody. Or if I was irrational or illogical. If I told Cy something that he knew that was not logical, and I'm not talking about some kind of ontological belief, I'm talking about something he knows, because let's say, okay, as a biochemist, right? I'm gonna think about something in biology. What do I remember about chemistry? Methane. Methane has 4 carbons, right? Right? So what?
Methane has 4 hydrogens.
4 hydrogens. 4 hydrogens. Yeah. 1 carbon, 4 hydrogen. Yeah. I knew that. Okay. So methane is 1 hydrogen, and then you have the 1 carbon, then you have 4 hydrogen on it. So if I would have told Cy, hey, look, methane has 1 carbon, 1 hydrogen, he'd have been like, dude, no, you're just wrong. You're just fundamentally wrong. And then I get a bunch of people. I get a bunch of anti-carbonists out there, or anti-hydronists, I guess, to be out there, and I get a bunch of them together, and I preach to them, look, methane has 1 hydrogen, 1 carbon. Cy doesn't know what he's talking about. He's a bad man. Let's do deep dives into Cy's background. Let's make him out to be a shitty person. Let's call him unethical. Let's say he's a liar. Let's destroy his reputation. And then later on go, oh shit, Cy was right. Yeah, methane does have, four hydrogen. That's what happened to me. That's what literally happened to me on the whole atheism thing.
Right.
Yes, it did.
Steve, sorry, I've just joined, but
Yes, Jeff.
Yeah, okay. Can I say something about what you were just saying Cy there, okay? Because I just want to point some. I didn't really want to start off my contribution to the stream with this, but okay. Can I just point something out this? About last week, okay, I had a bit of a disagreement with Chesh, okay? Now, we're okay, but it got a bit heated between myself and Manya and Letty. Now, I'm not going to get into what it was about. It got a little bit heated, but we had a bit of a harsh disagreement.
Was this a pineapple on pizza stuff?
No. It was something else, so I won't get into it. But hey, apparently, but I had a bit of a harsh disagreement, and I just said, okay, I'm stepping away from this. Okay, we had a, because it got heated, more heated than it should have done. But apparently we're all in your fucking cult, Steve. Apparently we're all group thinking your fucking cult.
Everybody has to agree in my exactly, right?
Yeah, I had a fucking heated disagreement with Manya and Letty last week, and a disagreement with Chesh. So apparently we're all in the cult.
Newsflash: I don't even agree with Chesh on everything, and she doesn't agree with me on everything. I don't agree with Letty on everything. He doesn't agree with everything. Actually, Letty and I, when it comes to science, actually agree on substantially quite a lot, actually. And he's actually, I don't particularly think he's obviously, I wouldn't qualify him as an expert in physics or anything like that. But he knows as a layperson, he has a very good understanding of these topics. Sufficient at least, better than I do in some of them, obviously. So, yeah, I mean, I want to foster a community that has abilities to have disagreements, and some of them might be passionate. Some might even get heated. Jess has blocked me before. You know what I did? I was like, okay, cool. We'll wait it out and and go from there. I didn't take it personally. She needed time away. I gave her time away. I needed time away. People, when I say I need to step back, people let me step back. There's nothing wrong with that. Matter of fact, remember, Jeff, you've been around probably longer than anybody as far as the Great Debate community.
No, I haven't been around that long, Steve.
Well, okay, you've been around long here. I mean, but you've been 3-4 years at least, right? 3 years? 2-3 years.
I came across you through non-sec.
Okay. Well,
I first came across you.
That was still 3 years ago, so.
Yeah.
All right, well, let me. Okay. Well, I'm going to use you anyways, but I think TomTom34B probably then would be the longest then in the audience. So, TomTom, and I'll ask you too, because you probably heard me say it. Do you guys not remember that I have a rule in the Great Debate community, and especially when you're having a discussion, that you have the right and ability to step away from a conversation at any time for any reason, no questions asked?
Yes, you do, and I'm going to say, just to make sure everybody's clear on this. Yes, I got a bit heated with myself and Letty and Manya the other week. But once I said I'm stepping away from this, I'm gonna step back.
Mm-hmm.
Both Manya and Letty were really cool about that.
Yeah.
And we're like, okay, it got a bit heated. We probably said some things to one another we shouldn't have just said.
It happens.
Okay, shit happens.
So you're not going to wait. So let me clarify. You're not going to spend 5 years of your life, 5 years of your life stalking them like I have had people do to me for disagreeing.
Oh no, I'm going full on fucking crazy now.
Full on, man.
Honestly, but yeah. I'm actually surprised that when I had that argument, that none of them started DMing me saying like, hey, I'm actually really surprised that didn't happen.
Maybe they didn't know because they have other people.
Yeah, I know. But it because it's like kind of, I've said this to you before, Steve. Even if I have a massive falling out with you and don't agree, I'm not jumping on the fucking bandwagon with these other fuckwits.
Yeah, and I would just let you go, kind of thing. I mean, I
apologize for my language. Anyone, sorry if I'm
you can use anything you want. Use any words you want, man. Use words to express yourself. Yeah, but the people that I care about the most, you know, I mean, I'm not going to mention his name, but I had a friend that decided to go full crazy. More than one, actually, but just the last one, I think. The one that I really thought was like really close to me. Just to promote his channel, just because he thought it was a better business decision rather than a friend decision.
Okay, I know who you're on
yeah,
about, but I won't mention his name. But
you know what? I still don't go around shitting on him. You know, I just don't. I didn't turn to, well, you know, people know it's Nick, but I mean, I didn't turn to an anti-Nick. Nick. I didn't turn into a Nick Crazy. Nick Crazy. There you go. I didn't turn into one, right?
You did one stream about him, and that was because other people came to you with grievances they had with him and they wanted to air.
Yes, I did a one and done.
In time.
Yeah,
and that was it. You haven't touched the subject since.
Yep, and there's reasons why I'm like that with people.
Sorry,
there's reasons why. There's people that I don't like, I'll make videos about, right? I mean, I have. I mean, look how many videos I had back in the day, you know, when Katie Joy was accusing me of all these false slanderous things. I made videos defending myself, right?
And I'll be honest with you, Steve. I haven't followed the whole stuff with you and Katie, honestly, because Katie doesn't fucking interest me at all. So
you don't get the cult. Honestly, you don't get the cult newsletter.
No. I'm
down the mailing list.
I'm not. I'm aware that you're in a lawsuit with her, but I don't know the details or nothing. That's all I kind of know, honestly, because
and that's up to you. I mean, you don't have to know. You know, again, people can choose what they want to follow and what they don't want to follow. You're my friend because you're my friend, not because you believe in me, not because you have to think like me, not because you agree with me. You're my friend because you're not a shitty fucking person. Manya, speaking of non-shitty persons.
No, I was just brought up our conversation on Twitter, so I was like, I would jump in and comment on that since it was just like I don't like when people they start shit publicly and then they want to resolve it privately. That's what my issue is.
We see that happen, and you know we kind of.
If you're going to start shit publicly, apologize publicly, and if you want to step away, don't bitch slap people while you're pretending to step away from a conversation. For example, you said you wanted to end the conversation, but you kept on telling me that why don't you use your brains? That's not stepping away from
I'll say, Manya, I'm going to apologize for that right now, okay, to you directly. And this isn't an excuse, but I hope you understand this. I was drunk tweeting last week when a lot of that happened, just so you know. That's not an excuse.
Then you should bring it up then if it's not an excuse.
Well, hang on. I'm gonna mediate this because this is I don't want to become that kind of thing. So let me jump in real quick.
No.
Jeff, you have apologized. Manya, do you accept it, and then we can move on?
I don't know. I have to wait because we haven't.
That's fair.
We haven't resolved the topic.
Then you guys can do that. You guys could do that later on.
Yeah, we'll do it later on.
Yeah, because I can't look. I respect people that don't accept apologies if they don't want to. Look, I'm one of those people. I will accept an apology if I think it's in earnest, and and then I won't if I think it's not, and stuff like that. But anyways, let's kind of get back on topic if we can.
Yeah.
Okay.
We can. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, sure.
Cool. Whatever the topic was, actually was the whole, methane, how many hydrogen has. But now going back to about whether we put our faith in God and man, we could kind of tighten it up a little bow on it because again, I don't want these hangouts to go very long. I am trying to do these more types of shows, just me talking to people because I think that's my forte. I think that's something that I enjoy doing, even though I haven't really enjoyed YouTube for quite some time actually. These types of discussions I do enjoy. And so I'm going to do what I want to do to make myself happy. I mean, does that make sense? I don't want to sound like crass, but it's for me. It's for me, literally for me, because this is what I like talking about. These are the discussions I like talking about. And I've always said, look, my whole YouTube channel was because I was talking about things I like to talk about, and people wanted to listen. Great. If they didn't, they didn't. I've always said I'm not going to have a huge YouTube channel, but I mean, people do know my channel. People do know my name. But I'm not going to get huge out of it. I just don't want. I want to do what I want to do on my channel.
I can't believe you're going to be that selfish. Dude.
I know. I'm a bad man. God is going to shit on me for this, isn't he?
No, of course. I mean, you have to, and you hit the nail right on the head there. In that, you do what you want and you don't do what you don't want to do. And some people look at that as, they'll send you show ideas or something like that. And if you don't want to do it, you don't want to do it. You owe nobody an
explanation. And I love people that do that. I have people all the time sending me ideas, and don't stop. Please send me. I can tell you right now, though, I've only had a select few get upset if I don't want to do that particular idea. And it has happened. It literally has happened. I'd be like, I'm not interested in that topic, or I think it would be just not appropriate or whatever. And instead of going, it's cool, it's a suggestion, people get angry. It's only happened a few times, but it has happened.
It could be like when God answers you, right? I've heard Christians say to me, the answers to everything is either yes, no, or wait.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, how would you determine whether God's, like, I remember the old song, some of God's greatest gifts are unanswered prayers, Garth Brooks thing. Remember that? How
music.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm not a big country music fan either, but I definitely remember that song because the point was of that song was, God was actually giving you a gift by not answering your prayer. But how do you know, if God has answered your prayer or not? What we would see on our end is exactly the same. We would have no knowledge whether God operated behind the scenes to answer that prayer or not. We are outside of that epistemic knowledge. We couldn't know something like that. There's a wall between us and a deity making those things happen. It'd be like, who's the wizard behind the curtain, right? We have no idea if there's actually somebody back there or not responding to our request or not. We don't know. We have no idea. That's faith. Go ahead.
If I may, in Hinduism, where I come from, there's a very different sort of philosophy. We might say it's a little flipped. Like, we are taught to make all the efforts we can, and then in the end, it's up to the deity or the god to whether to give us the fruit of our efforts or not. So what happens is we thank God if our efforts bring the desired results we have. And that's where, as an atheist, I would draw the line. I would say, if my efforts are bringing the results that I was working towards or expecting, why do I need a deity in my life anyways? So that's kind of what the flip side of, I think, so you could say the philosophy is that come from some of the other religions.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not about how hard you pray. It's about, did you make enough effort to fulfill or work towards what you wanted to work out for you?
Is that what something like along the lines of God helps those who helps themselves kind of thing?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That kind of thing.
Yeah. Well, I can safely say right now that I anytime when I was a theist and I did pray, I didn't get any answers. The only one time I remember, and it obviously, coincidental or anecdotal, however you want to say it, I do remember I had a Mazda RX-7. I had a kind of metallic Mazda RX-7 that people may have seen in an old picture of mine. And I was driving with a friend of mine from St. George to Salt Lake City. And we had broken down the side of the road. The radiator hood had blown. And I was duct taping that up or fixing that up, but we needed water. The water had to come out. And so, she was Mormon, I was Mormon, and we're like, okay, let's pray. And we prayed. And I'm not in fronting. I mean, within about a couple minutes, a truck, parked in back of us that had water, that had jugs of water, right? Now, that could be completely coincidental. Most people, there are always people that have, water when they drive long distance, and you could see that my radiator was having issues. So, it could have been obviously, I believe it was kind of coincidental, obviously. But, I mean, those little things to a Christian would be like, confirmation that the prayer was answered, correct?
So that's the confirmation bias, isn't it, coming into play? They're looking for something, and so almost everything can be some sort of indication. Oh, that flower came in my view, so that's
Because if we hadn't played that, if we had not had prayed, would that truck still have stopped and given us water? How would we have known? We don't know whether that truck was influenced to stop. We don't know. All right. I mean,
I don't believe that. I believe that we had not prayed, it wouldn't have made a bit of difference. We still would have got the water now.
Well,
but it was still confirmational, and I can see how a theist could see all these little things that they do to pray and things that happen, and they take it as, oh, these are, God in action.
Kawasa 5001, real quick. In Confucianism, the saying goes, quote, do everything a human can, and then wait for heaven's will. So East Asians generally root for human agencies. Yes, as a matter of fact, I was just talking to my friend. There's a distinct difference between Western philosophies and Eastern philosophies. The continental philosophies and the analytic philosophers, very different, very, very different in their approaches to these things.
yes,
I know nothing. Also, I know nothing about Eastern philosophy. I've only just started diving into Western philosophy, let alone Eastern. So...
I don't do Eastern philosophy either. I strictly read Western philosophies. I strictly read the Western, epistemology and things of that nature. I cannot get into the Eastern philosophies. I think it's it's like learning two very distinct mathematical systems, right? It's two different systems, and I'm not even competent in one. I don't have the wherewithal nor ability to dive into the other. I picked a lane, and that's what I'm going with. And that's the
my basic knowledge of philosophy is that I can sing the Monty Python Philosopher's Song off by heart. That's my basic knowledge.
I think we all live by Monty Python. We'd be okay, right?
Yeah. I've dropped a number of videos about things because I know you and we've had conversations off and on for a while, Steve, about because where I very much came, I think when I first met you, I was very much in the whole lack theist kind of atheism is merely a lack of belief kind of thing to, changing my views on that a lot, and I was still trying to get my head around a lot of stuff. Well, you and I'm going to say Answers and Reason as well. They've been
Joe's smart.
helpful.
Joe's a great guy. Joe and Dave.
They are criminally underrated. Those guys.
I agree.
They're criminally undersubbed as well. But
all right, Michael's got to take off. Thank you, Michael. I appreciate it, my friend. We'll get more chats in like this, Michael. Trust me.
For sure. Everybody,
thank you, buddy.
Take care. Nice chatting. I gotta bail.
Bye, Michael. Steve, I'm going to have to take off.
Yeah, I'm gonna be wrapping this up. I'm gonna wrap this up.
Let me just say one quick final comment about this issue of prayer and getting help or not. When you're a Christian and you really believe in God, you believe in Jesus Christ as your Savior, you don't really. You may pray. I mean, you do pray for things. You also pray thanks, and you pray a lot. But you're not constantly testing to see whether or not God is there because you're already believing that God is there. Mm-hmm. And you never really know, at least in my view, you never really know what God is doing for you. Whether you ask the question, would it have happened? Would the truck have stopped if I hadn't prayed? Would the truck have stopped if there was no God? That's something that is not really a question, because when you're Christian, you believe that Jesus is with you all the time. The Holy Spirit is watching you. God exists, is in heaven, and then life, you live life. I mean, you do everything.
No, I understand your foundation.
Everybody else does,
Sure.
You try to.
You want to be asking the same questions I'm asking, right? I get it. Yeah,
exactly.
I get it.
So anyway, I just wanted to say that. And
say hi to Cam. Do me a favor. Will you I want to get back in more into this kind of stuff. I can't do it as often as I like because I am working now, and there's people that in my close personal circles knows there's a lot going on. It's just not for public consumption, and I'm sorry for that, but it's just. I have to think about me right now, and I've put so many people ahead of me for so long, and now's the time that I have to put myself first. I have no choice if I want to survive. I have no choice, and I apologize for that, and I hope most people do understand that. But I am putting myself first, and one of the biggest things is I want to do this kind of stuff.
Yeah, you are the priority in your life and on your channel. Whatever makes you happy and makes you comfortable is of utmost importance.
Yeah, well, I was just saying my daughter too. My daughter obviously comes even before me. But the thing, still, if I don't make it, if there's no me then I can't help my daughter. So it's like I really do believe put your own mask on first before you help others, right? Right. So I mean, I have to worry about me if I want to worry about anybody else.
Yes.
But let people know, Guy, in the theist community, that I'd love to have more conversations with theists like this kind of stuff, and have them watch this particular video, leave comments, subscribe to the channel, and join.
I'll tell you what I'm going to do. There's a woman named Rebecca Davis who has a channel called Bread of Life. She's fantastic, and she has a lot of atheists on. She had Answers in Atheism, who's a good friend of mine, a number of other people. I'll mention if you're interested.
Yeah, I want to start going on other channels too. I like being. I mean, I don't mind going on other channels, being interviewed, and talk about this stuff.
Yeah,
and generate. I need to get people involved in these conversations again. I haven't for a very long time. I did back way, in the Great Debate community. Man, did I foster and I hustled to make things happen and connect. And not sequitur show exactly.
You did it on non-sec as well. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and I kind of missed that a little bit. And I think that I need to get back to my roots. I need to get back to me.
Amen.
Amen, man. Hey, brother. Thank you, sir.
All right. Take care.
All right. So with that, I'm kind of going to wrap it up. Jeff and Manya, thank you guys for jumping in here. I am going to close the hangout here. So say what you got to say. Then I'm going to take my 2-minute wrap up. But Jeff, you're going to go, and then I'm going to leave the lady has last word. Okay.
No. I've got much to say. I just say if anybody's interested, on my humble little channel called Godless Scummer, I just dropped a video about an hour ago saying "Are rocks atheists?" Because the whole as we mentioned, the whole bloody.
I'll check that out. Do you want to have a discussion on that later?
We can do that later. I mean, like I said, I'm not a philosophy guy. I just was giving my own private thoughts on things, and because.
Oh, did you
getting the whole why are they saying rock? Because I don't get it. I don't get that argument. I really don't, and I think it's a bad argument.
It's a horrible argument, and I think that it needs to be revisited. People always say, you guys recycle some stuff, and it's like not necessarily so. We see it's just these topics never die. Look, how many thousands and thousands of years, 2,000 years, people have been talking about Christianity, right? The same kind of subjects come up. Does anything ever get changed? No, but a lot of people have never heard of these things. Like, how many people in the live chat right now, and please, I'm not going to judge you for it. If you have never heard of rock atheism, press 1. If you have heard of rock atheism, which is a coin, I believe I coined that phrase, if I'm not mistaken, push 2. Now, again, I'm not going to say for sure that I coined that because I don't remember, but I'm pretty sure that I did because I've been talking about the rock atheist for a very long time. But if somebody else did, I apologize. But it's definitely something that I have promoted for years. The argument against rock atheism, because it's one of the dumbest arguments on the planet. So if you've heard of it, press 2. If you have not, press 1. Because I'm just kind of curious if somebody has not. But anyways, let's talk about that, Jeff. Maybe next weekend or something like that. Next Sunday or whatever. I know you're in a different time zone, but I'll get with you. But I think it needs to be discussed again because Aaron is, again, going out there going, and what's funny, and I'll give him this. In Aaron's paradigm, right, in Aaron's schema, his logic is correct. In his schema. Right? But I can make any schema where I can have a logical system that's coherent. Doesn't mean it's a good logical system. Just because if I set up my premises, I can make any argument work if I set up the system that way. So if I say, this by definition is this, therefore this, but these are all semantic arguments. These are semantic things which are meaningless. I can say all humans are cats. Jeff is a human, therefore Jeff is a cat. And if I define cat as somebody who's human, then that's a logical argument. That actually is true. That's valid and sound, actually, right?
Yeah.
Because I'm just using the word cat to represent human. It's a semantic argument.
Your logical argument are correct or not.
Right. And so he's playing semantics.
Sorry, Steve, I'm not correct. That's sort of, forgive me if I'm totally wrong, that's kind of like a basic sort of Aristotelian sort of logic thing from what I gather. And again, I'm just dipping my toes into philosophy right now, so There's a lot I don't. There's an awful lot I don't know. I'm currently just sort of been reading through Graham Oppy's Atheism: The Basics.
Oh, Oppy's amazing. Oppy, I love reading Oppy's work.
I mean, and then the one I'm reading is obviously more of an introductory kind of level thing to. But yeah, I from what I've been reading, I can't disagree with anything Oppy's been saying.
Oppy is amazing. Yeah, Oppy. I mean, I understand a lot of Oppy, but I don't understand a lot of Oppy. I've read a paper by Oppy, or I tried reading it, that was so far out of my depths that I was like, this is just as.
Yeah.
I mean, and now it wasn't related to anything to this. I don't remember exactly what it was. It was something, and it had to do with semantics too. But I was like, man, this is way beyond my capabilities. The dude is just smart.
Mm.
Yeah, but I'm glad that I kind of kindled that with you, and I appreciate all the people that have messaged me over the years saying that they didn't appreciate philosophy until they started listening to my shows on them, and that they underestimated the power of reason and logic and critical thinking. And they watched Caffeine Corner with Cheshire and I, and they utilized some of the things that we've talked about with the 5 C's, and that means a lot to me. That means a lot that they have actually gleaned something from what we put out. Agree, disagree, at least they listen, but yeah, it means something. So I appreciate that, Jeff, a lot. And good luck with that. So
Yeah.
All right, Monty, going to give you the last word after my super chat from Min. What up, buddy? He says, for $2, wish you the best. Stay agnostic for our sake. Yeah, I don't think that I'm going to be changing that position anytime soon. I have been really having some deep, profound things in the last couple weeks to month. I mean, profound experience changes. Just things I can't even relate or put in words. Questions I've never even thought of asking myself before. And I mean, even like the whole escapism thing. I never thought about posturing that question of why we have escapism. What it is that we try to escape from. And do we do it to deny reality or escape from reality or just cope? But yeah, there's a lot. I mean, people can say, oh, Steve's having a midlife crisis. Well, okay. I mean, whatever. I mean, that's the term they want to use by it. But
everyone is entitled.
But that's his words. Yeah.
Everyone is entitled to their opinion as long as they're not hurting anyone. There, as you said, Steve, there are different ways of coping. Mm-hmm. I've been at that threshold also where I was so. That's a personal example I'm using. I was at a threshold point where I was like, I was so dependent on God and so for hope, for support, for strength, and then suddenly it was like, okay. For all these years, I've been dependent on a deity, have not gotten anywhere. What would be the difference if I gave up on that deity and just went on my own way? And that has been like that ever since. And it's not like that cycle can't happen again. It can happen depending on circumstances. And, like we are humans. So there are different ways we choose to cope with. And if you're turning to a deity or a god, and you're not hurting anyone, there's nothing wrong with it.
No, I don't think so.
I personally feel, yeah.
No, and I agree with you on that. And I'm gonna end this end the Google chat here, and I'm gonna wrap it up. But I want to thank you too, and I'll give my final thoughts. Is that cool?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right, thank you guys, and I appreciate it from the bottom of my heart. And let me click this. All right, so just kind of put a bow on what Monty was saying. When I've been doing a lot of my streams lately, I haven't been having the camera on, and I've noticed when I don't have the camera on and I'm not focusing on how it's appearing. As a matter of fact, I actually most of the entire stream I didn't even have my OBS as such. I was actually in the Google Hangout and I didn't have my camera on, but I've just been focusing kind of on the live chat. But I noticed when I don't have the camera on, I'm just talking into the mic like this, like I kind of did for doing a podcast or kind of doing for just a talk, a video, I guess you can say. I noticed that I really think more about some of the things that I have to say rather than be dependent upon how it's coming across. And I think that it's very raw, it's very emotional, it's very from the heart. And I kind of like that. Although, I think video is a little bit better because you get to see things and people do watch things. But I've had a lot of people tell me they listen more than they view. Matter of fact, this was the big criticism with Kyle, is that people were telling him, look, graphics are great, but we don't watch non sequitur for the graphics. We watch non sequitur
for the quality of the shows and the discussions, and Steve talking to the experts on these various topics. But to kind of wrap up a bow on what Manya said, she said that when she would pray and stuff like that, basically, did it really matter whether she wasn't getting the help from the God kind of thing. And my question to leave you guys with is, well, if her thing was Hinduism and she had a Hindu God that she believed in and wasn't getting any response from that Hindu God, why is it any different from any other deity? Whether it be a monotheistic religion or be a polytheistic religion or be a monolateralist religion of some sorts or a henotheistic religion of some sorts, if she can recognize that, like me, I believe that the Hindu gods don't exist, right? I'm atheistic toward Hindu gods. I think Mani is too. So if I believe that those gods don't exist, I'm clearly me praying to Vishnu. Is that a Hindu? I think that's Hindu, right? If I pray to Vishnu, I'm not going to get a response because I believe Vishnu does not exist. So how can I get a response from a being that doesn't exist? But if the possibility exists for somebody of billions, there's a billion Hindus out there, whatever, that believe that, and they could be wrong on that. I have to be cognizant of the fact that Christians could be wrong on that as well. If the Vishnu God, can be prayed to and Vishnu doesn't respond, I, as the agnostic, have to be equally up to the possibility that the Christians who pray to a God are praying to nothing as well. Now, I'm not saying that's the case, but I can at least understand why people will argue those ways, right? People will say, well, both of them are wrong. Okay, let's have those discussions. So with that, guys, I'm going to wrap this up. Yeah, Bonnie, exactly. People are more comfortable when they're thinking and not being observed. And I agree with you. I've been really self-conscious lately of a lot of things, but I've let you know I have lost 20 pounds. These jeans that I'm in here, I'm actually wearing these jeans right now. I think I tweeted out. Let's see if I can you see these jeans? These are nice jeans. I've never worn them before. My old landlord gave them two pairs to me, and they were size 36. I ballooned up to like a 40, maybe even a 42, and then I met Jim Jules, and I started exercising and dieting, and just I honestly, especially in the last month or two, I've had very, very low appetite, to say the least. And so I've lost 20 pounds, which was good because I was trying to lose weight. So I dropped from 216 to I just weighed myself earlier, and I was dropped to 196. That is a massive difference. I don't know if you guys ever seen what 20 pounds of fat looks like. It is a lot of weight. And luckily, I took before pictures, and I have medium in the middle pictures, and now I'll eventually take final pictures. I'm not as chiseled as I was before because I haven't really been working like out as I was. But it's definitely a significant amount of difference. The 20 pounds is a lot of weight, man. So, all right, guys, I'm going to wrap this up. Thank you guys for watching. I don't think I'm going to have a stream tomorrow. I am working Monday, and then I have to go to the VA on Tuesday. So I don't know if the next stream will be Wednesday or not. But we'll see what happens. I mean, I just kind of to get a hair, wild hair up my butt and go, I'm going to talk about this particular topic. And I think that's my enjoyment. I mean, this was not a planned stream. I did not study for this stream. I didn't read about the stream. Usually when I want to do a subject, I really kind of dive into it. Matter of fact, one of the reasons Chester and I didn't really do much on the gang stalking yet is because I haven't really had the opportunity to really dive into it as much as I would like to be able to put it out coherently on Caffeine Corner. But this was impromptu stream, to say the least. But these are the ones I enjoy doing. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. Watch, don't watch, send it out to people if you want. Help me out to get the message out there that these are the discussions we're going to be trying to have. Leave some comments. Become a member. Become a Patreon. I'm still going to have Patreon and membership benefits. Well, actually, I don't much with the benefits wise, but I still have my Patreon and I still have my memberships. Patreon right now is my biggest thing that I can really give you some help on. I'm trying to put out quality stuff like this. And if you guys like that, especially because my GoFundMe is being up and down, and right now it's down. So if you want to support this channel and you want to foster these kinds of things, because I'm going to be bringing people on and having more discussions like this, then become a patron to the channel. That's how people ask how they can support, and they say, hey, can I do this or that? How do I go about it? Patreon is right now is going to be a big thing for me, I think. So good night, Jen and Cheshire and Manya and everybody else. And I really do hope that you guys have a great weekend. And I do sincerely think all of you have contacted me and have reached out.
I've taken advantage of that, by the way. So people that have known, I've definitely relied on people as a shoulder to talk. I was gonna say shoulder to talk to. That'd be stupid though. Shoulder to put my head on and talk to. It's been a lot of months of just bad stuff. Yeah, I would say the last 6 months have not been great. So, all right. Anyways, guys, go watch Cheshire's stuff. She's got some stuff coming up. I think she has something planned for tomorrow. I'm not quite exactly sure what it is, but it's Cheshire. How bad could it be? So we'll see you then. Good night.